Wrong intro. We are not doing a tinfoil hat time today.
Illuminati are planning to take over the world.
Oh boy. Well, we'll go ahead and run it while I fix other stuff. Yeah, this is not tinfoil hat time. There we are. Okay. Well, it's an exciting day today. That's not working. All right. Well, yeah, we're not doing tinfoil hat time. We're doing just a regular. I guess it's Thursday. I didn't do a Wednesday yesterday, so I'm just gonna record everything with the Wednesday screen. Why not? The whole day's messed up. Everything's messed up. I was gonna talk about something else, and then YouTube does crazy things. So we're gonna talk about this. YouTube messes with sub feeds, and so YouTube's got more craziness. I have some fun solutions for you. And so let's just go ahead and chat about all this kind of stuff. So let's dive on over to the comments. Of course, I did not put up my black comment feed. I did too many other things to deal with. Too many things to deal with. And here's the kitty, not frozen. The kitty's not on ice, right? You're not on ice, are you? He's like, no, just put me back down. Oh, well, welcome anyway. Welcome anyway. Oh, and I forgot to do something else too. Oh, well. I won't eat until 10 o'clock tonight. I would need to throw something in, but we'll worry about that. Eating, overrated. Hello, Calmer. How's it going there? World Linux, hello. Talk. Why would Manjaro be good? Because the Ubuntu base supports all the popular Linux applications without something to run on it. Manjaro, wait. Ubuntu base supports all the popular Linux applications without doing something to run it on Manjaro. I don't know. I think Manjaro is fine. So you don't know enough about Manjaro to form an opinion, but because I can never get past the installer. Yeah, I never really had any issues with the installer. It's not as intuitive as the Mint installer, but I've not had issues with it. I had a couple issues with it one time with some update stuff, but that seems to be resolved as of now. Just installed Manjaro i3 a few days ago. Not bad. Really like it. Yep. Manjaro appeared on, it was the only non-Debian based distro that appeared on my recommended list for the first half of the 18 now. It's going to be interesting. Greetings from France. Well, greetings over there in France. Neo29. Hello, everyone. Looking forward to this one. Hello, Analog. Yep, we are going to get to the Mint in Manjaro. We're just going to go ahead and talk about this one first. Also, for anybody on, I will be live streaming on my Christian channel tonight at ourwalkinchrist.com. We'll be doing James chapter 3, I think. We'll plug that now and a little bit later. Based on Arch, and it's rolling release distro. You always have the newest software. Yep, updates. My packet's too large. I prefer everyday updates like Arch does. Keep up the awesome videos and streams. Really enjoyed your last one about minimalism. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I have an entire playlist on minimalism on outdoor philosophy I did last summer. Brendan, how are you? Hope you enjoy as much as last. Again, keep up the great work. I will, man. Thank you. Okay, good evening. Have no fear. Libre Secura's here. Greetings. Okay. So much for going to bed tonight. Sorry, man. I'll keep you up a little bit. Even Chris were uploaded. Yes, he had a video about Manjaro. Just saw that. Switch from Windows directly to Manjaro, and I'm fine now. Very good. Howdy, y'all. Greetings, Skybear. A suggestion for an intro effect of Mint Manjaro. 2 boxing gloves hitting each other. There you go. Yeah, if I had time. The Penguin could be the refereeer. Yeah. Clash of the Titans. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Okay. Ding, ding. Is Manjaro stable as rock? I haven't had issues with it. Some people say it starts out good and has problems on updates. I don't know. I ran it for about 2 weeks or a month or so with 0 problems. Absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite distros I've ever run. Greetings, Cool War Boy. How are you? Norris, hello. Uh-oh. Peppermint OS is also great. Yep, I like Peppermint OS. Switch to Kitty Slideshow. Yep. Yep. Greetings, sensationalism. What does it mean? Tinfoil hat intro is still creepy. I'm working on making it creepier. I'm looking into if anybody knows, is the X-Files theme public domain or not? I'm looking at having somebody do a creepy remix for me for some creepy music to put at the intro of it. I want to make it worse. Tom, I like everything about UFOs. Very good, very good. Alright. Tinfoil hat subject. Kitty cam mysteriously flickers. Message of space aliens. That's exactly what it is. You're not supposed to tell anybody, though. Ubuntu. Now this guy say greeting. Greeting. Get a Bodhi review up. You know what? I was perilously close to doing Bodhi today. I was thinking about it. Wine support better on Manjaro compared to Linux Mint. I didn't have issues with either one. There's one game I tried to install in Manjaro, didn't work, but I'm not sure if it would work in Mint either. I didn't try it. Do you think greetings and salutations, the other word used together? See, I don't say greetings and salutations because that's Joe Collins' trick, so, you know. Use Friday the 13th theme. There you go. Okay. Who want to ask me anything? All right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump on in. So first, we're going to talk about this YouTube scenario. So we're going to rerun the intro, and then we're going to jump into this because this just broke today. And so I mean, if I had known more about it prior to putting up the thing, I would have even taken the whole show for this. So let's see what happens. We're going to start the recording button so I can record this separately, and let's go ahead and dive on in. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. I'm not sure if it's Wednesday or Thursday anymore. It's been a crazy day. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and talk about some fun newsy type stuff, and then we're going to dive into a few other things later on here. So it should be 2 videos compiled out of this one. So the first topic, we're going to talk about YouTube messing with the sub feeds. So this is a major problem, a major issue, because in my opinion, when a company starts pushing an algorithm, the algorithms really start to break things. And one of the biggest problems an algorithm does is it reduces the free flow of information and brings in a narrowing of your perspective. Now, also the thing that concerns me about YouTube doing an algorithm like this, which is going to mess with your subscriptions feed, is it ties right on into that Google ledger we were talking about. Kind of scary. Please, guys, let's not delete the super chats, even if it looked like an advertising. So, just an FYI. Let me handle any super chats that pop up on the channel. But anyway, and thank you, by the way, for the super chat. What we're looking at here is, in this case here on the YouTube feed, is the YouTube decided to push something out here just earlier today. It's probably late last night was the first time this seemed to have broken. Yeah, okay, it was a mistake from you. Yes, sorry about that. And I don't have a way to restore it. I used to have a way to restore super chats. I don't have a way to restore it anymore. YouTube keeps breaking things that aren't broken and coming on with more. Yeah, this is a horrible recording so far. Live stream's great, but anyway, so YouTube is back to, they're trying to test non-chronological video order and subscription feeds for some users. Basically an algorithm pushed feed for you. So now this is more significant, I think, if you're using a YouTube app on your phone, because now you're not going to see the chronological videos of the people you are subscribed to. You are going to see the things that YouTube wants you to see. Which, by the way, I had a look at my feed over here just prior to starting, and it's a bunch of useless crap that, frankly, some of it I find offensive. I wouldn't want to watch some of this crap. They're suggesting, you might want to see this. No, I don't. I want to see videos to the things I subscribed to. And I think that that is an echoed statement about most people. But now they keep on breaking more, because not only, by the way, is that notification bell important. You have to subscribe, and then you have to notify. And then you have to go into your settings and say, notify me of everything, because they're only notifying you of some things. YouTube, when they sub, that should be enough. But fine, now we sub and get a notification bell. No, now they're giving us a feed that is an algorithmically determined based upon what you think that you should see. This ties right into that Google ledger. They're directing us in directions that, this is scary. This is just scary. Now, this is a small test, and I'll tell you this too. My opinion of why Facebook is irrelevant is because it went to algorithm based. It went to algorithm based. Okay. Instagram just moved to algorithm based, and I'm giving it 2 years before it is also irrelevant. Any social platform that moves to an algorithm based feed structure is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Okay. That's kind of what YouTube is now starting to do with your subscriptions feed. Now they are starting to feed you what they think you might want to see. This is a huge, huge, huge problem. Huge problem. So you can check out this article here from Mac Rumors. H3 Productions did one of the earlier videos on this, so you can see kind of that stuff. They responded back from the official YouTube channel. Just to clarify, we're currently experimenting with how to show content in the feed subs. We find that some viewers are able to more easily find the videos they want to watch when we order the subs feeds in a personalized order versus showing the most recent videos first. Anytime you start using algorithms like this, it generally marks the decline of the network. So when I'm putting together my own support site, which is going to have places for people who can't or don't want to monetarily support, but we'll have other places like affiliate corners, viewing ads, and things like that. But one of the core features I've placed on that web page when it's launched, and I was shooting for the end of this month. There's too much content to put on it right now, so I'm probably will be about 2 or 3 weeks out. But what you do is right on the landing page without logging in, all 3 of my channels, the most recent video. Period. Automatically done. Well, it turns out, though, that you can actually do this yourself with a simple HTML script. So here is what I've done is I've just created a simple raw text HTML file directly on my computer. You simply put in the feed for the channel you want, and then you go here and the latest video will always appear no matter what the latest video happens to be. So if you refresh the script, now of course since I'm live right now it doesn't give this video, but after this video is done it will show up here without changing anything. So you can literally create a web page that looks like this, and you can have it feeding in and always giving you your latest things, and they're not going to touch it. You can have it on just a raw file on your desktop. You can have it the default page when you boot up your web browser. You can go to just some custom page for you that you control, that it will pull in and feed all of the YouTube videos you want for the channels you want. So if you want to know if Switch to Linux or Our Walk in Christ or Home Cooking Hacks or Total OS Today, if you want to know if any of these channels have released the latest video, pull this page up, refresh this page, it will automatically show you the latest video. You can click it right here. You can full screen, you can go right over to YouTube, so you can do all sorts of stuff like that. So that's what you can do. Now, the reason I have Total OS 10 here is because a new YouTube video channel versus an old YouTube channel embeds this feed in a different way. You have to be aware of that. All right, so how do you pull something like this off? Well, I am going to show you, and what I'm going to do here is I want to increase the text size, and then we're going to come over here and I'll walk you through the code. So give me just a second to change my web code over. All right, so here is the script that I'm using to pull this. So all this is just, literally this is it. It's just it's a file, and I labeled this youtube-feeds.html. It's sitting on my desktop right now. You could throw this in a folder and set this as a default page that your web browser, whatever your web browser is, opens to. So all it is I'm pulling in an iframe. Now for the newer channels, and I want to say newer means after 2015. Anyway, the channels have these large, channel ID tags. What you need to do is track down the channel ID tags, but you need to change it ever so slightly. You just use https://www.youtube.com/embed/video series question list equals. Now, what you need here is the feed. If you go to any YouTube channel, if it's a newer channel, it's going to have this randomly generated coda script. It's going to start with UC, capital U, capital C, and then a string of characters. Okay, what you need to do is you need to copy that, paste that after list equals, but then you change you change UC into UU. So you have UU and then your string of crap. And then you actually just specify the width and the height that you want, the frame border, allow full screen, and the iframe, just like this. That is newer channels. Your older channels, if you go to them, will have a URL /user/ in this case, TOS Today, Total OS Today. So you set up that one with your essentially the same thing, only your URL becomes http://youtube.com/embed question list type is capital equals user underscore uploads and ampersand list equals and the username, just like it is. In this case, TOS Today. Specify your width, specify your height, save that as an HTML file, double click it, that will open right up in your web browser. And as you open that up in your web browser, then you will then be able to see your feeds like this. Of course, I can specify, I can increase the heights, widths, or whatever's, in which case now I'll be able to see. Pull that up. You can pick your top 5 or whatever channels you have on there, as many as you want. It's going to give you a list. Every single time these guys release a new video, it will automatically appear first in this list. And you will have a little drop down here in the corner to see the latest videos that channel has done. Okay, this is a script that I had put on my new channel, on my new support page, so I thought I'd share that with everybody. And what I will do is when I release this finally in the final form, is I will try and have a link to this basic HTML site so that you can use it and modify it on your own. Maybe I'll put in some comment suggestions here. So that's how you can always get back. Don't worry about YouTube messing with your sub feeds. If you take your favorite, because I mean, we might all sub to hundreds of channels, but there's really only 10 or 15 or 20 maybe that we really want to see everything they do. Do this simple thing, 10, 15 channels. You have one static web page. It's always going to see the latest video they're doing no matter what. That's it, period. Let's go ahead and jump back to our comments and let me know what you think about this whole mess down below, and then we're going to dive into our next topic. All right, so that was short and sweet. Oh, boy. All right, now let me go ahead and change my banners around, and then we'll dive into what everyone came here to see, and that is our Manjaro versus our Linux Mint. I'm going to put Linux Mint first because it's still my favorite. Replace that, replace that. There we are. And let's dive on into comments. All right, let's see. Must be something. Okay, once again, thank you for the super chat. I'm really sorry that the comment got deleted, and I used to be able to pull this open and show the comment, but apparently I can't. My apologies. Thank you for the super chat, though. Let's see. Spider Eyes among native English. Many people who has badly developed English. You might be one of them. Okay. The sub feed is the last safe place on YouTube. 71 viewers. We're going to the moon. Woohoo! See if we can break 100. See if we can break 100. Everybody, tell your friends. Spider Eyes, do you think that was a salutation? Please accept my apologies. Okay. Didn't work for me either. Famous Ukrainian hacker, have you ever listened about? Okay, trying to enter the channel and deleted it by mistake. Don't want to watch makeup tutorials, rap video, or music trailers? No, I really don't. I mean, nor do I really like the, you know, the SJ crappy BuzzFeed feces that spews forth on YouTube. Oh, boy. Responding to what Switch said was saying about the suggested feed, it's all crap. Yep. Does it too. He's something marble that I can't recognize. Welcome to YouTube. It's going to get worse. For me, Linux Mint is like the nice and trendy guy who has a TV show and gives it all the fans. Manjaro works more than a reliable inventor who can surprise you with elite products. Which Linux distro user? I personally am on Linux Mint. YouTube, I couldn't care less about what they want me to watch. I want to watch. Yeah. Hello, Fidel. How are you? Has anyone noticed the YouTube chat contacts feature? Yes, it's been driving me crazy. It's sitting here with a notification. I like having 0 notifications. Stupid thing keeps popping up. I'm not interested, YouTube. Leave me alone. It's all part of the ledger. It was leaked. Now they're like, we got to step up our game, yo. We got to control these people. Reel them in. Reel them in. Oh, boy. Use app get. Okay, both Manjaro, PC, and Mint. I don't remember what Manjaro uses. Somebody who's a Manjaro person, what does that use for updating? I just use the package manager because it works. Mint is Ubuntu. Mint is playing around with Puppy Linux. Huh. Oh, Mint. Playing around with Puppy Linux. Puppy Linux?
Puppy Linux, that's my distro.
Yeah, Kitty uses Puppy Linux. Ubuntu all the way. 8 years, hop for 2 years before that. Will I release code for that? Yes. Custom YouTube page. Yeah, you can spruce it up. It's a lot nicer on my support page. That's just I just threw the iframes in there because you know it's not really meant for outside viewing. It's just an internal thing. Process more data off Google. Become minimalist base user. Very good, Scott. Very good. Hello, Yon Yopez. How are you? Bart, how's it going? You're new as well. Awesome. Allison, hello. Manjaro KDE for you. Very good. Do hope this isn't. I hope the suggestion in this show isn't going to be that if you're at the top of distro watch, you're popular. We're going to address we're going to address that conversation briefly. That is why I picked these 2 distros, but there's a reason I think that they're up there, and we'll talk about that. But no, I don't use distro watch as my overarching reason why a distro is quote-unquote good. Why don't you make these iframes responsive? The reason live or die is when you take a YouTube iframe and make it responsive, I believe it breaks the ability to go directly to the YouTube site or full screen. I can't remember. On top of that, it is, I think I do have them responsive on my other site. It's just that, this is just simplicity. There's no CSS. Responsiveness requires CSS, all that other fun stuff. This is just raw text. So, yeah, if you were publishing this to a page, you make it look a lot better than I did there. This is just a concept, how to make it work. All right. Hello, Daniel. How's it going there? I'm grab new videos, my subscription locally, then I control how the feed show up in groups. I have streaming issues to deal with. Something like RSS reader, but for videos. Yep. Yeah. And then you can actually get an RSS feed as well. Cat spotted.
Cat spotted. It's a spotted cat.
So the comment to check a video in his channel, and it's super creepy. Have no relation to Linux. Huh, okay. Keep forgetting about my blog. I'm working on my 2nd geography video. Joe A. suggested feeds are the reasons stupid things like Yenny or Laurel or dress colors get so much buzz. I think YouTube chat would be cool if it had a calling. Manjaro uses Pac-Man. Yep. This is my first Linux crush, but Manjaro is looking hot though. Not new, sub for a while, just never caught a stream. Alright, cool. Well, welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. Windows asked me to make a pin one more time. I'm switching to Windows 7. Every now and again, I accidentally hit the pin button on Windows 7. It drives me crazy. Mint has been overpowered by an Arch-based distro. All right, let's go ahead and jump into some of this stuff here. So let's go ahead and chat about this. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, we're going to have a look at two of the heavyweights in the Linux community right now. We're going to look at Linux Mint and Manjaro. So both of these are distros that have done very well. Obviously, they are top rated on DistroWatch, which doesn't mean a lot in terms of who's using what distro. What the rating on DistroWatch is how many times does a distro get hit on DistroWatch with a view. That's really all it does. So it's not necessarily indicative, but it does have some bearing in what's actually happening because people go and view what they're looking for. You hear about something, you look up a distro, DistroWatch appears high up, you land on the page, that counts as a hit for the day. So it's not a completely valid thing what DistroWatch has in their top listings, but it's not something to completely say it's totally meaningless either. Okay, so this is what we're talking about here is the hit rating. Of course, if you look in the last several months, whatever amount of time, you can reload that. Of course, over 12 months, you see that Mint is still a little higher. 6 months, Manjaro is now a little bit higher. I'm expecting Mint to pass Manjaro again in the next couple weeks as Mint 19 rolls out. I would expect that to jump back and forth. But you'll notice, though, that the number of hits these two distros have is over 1,000 higher, over 30% higher than the next highest, which is Ubuntu. Now, to be fair, Ubuntu would probably be higher if all of the Ubuntu flavors were all lumped under one banner of Ubuntu. That doesn't happen. But just all to say, this isn't perfectly indicative of exactly who's using a distro or not. But it does give us a good hint. So why is Mint and Manjaro at the top? One immediate thing strikes me right off the top, and that's that green things grow. Okay, I mean they both got green. I mean green grows. I mean just a sign of a tree, a plant, it grows. So that's I think what it is. If you want a successful Linux distro, you got to have green in there somewhere. That's it. Just have green. Maybe that's why Elementary did good, because the default wallpaper is a tree. It's green. It's got green. You see? But no, outside of that, obviously I use Linux Mint as my daily drivers, both for video production and for web design when I am working remotely. In the main office, I still use Windows because I've had that computer for nearly a decade and it still works. When it stops working, it's being replaced immediately. But when I am traveling remote or, in the annex office, which doubles as the couch in a movie, it's Linux Mint. And I use Linux Mint because I am not a developer. I'm not a tinkerer. I'm not a guy who sits on the bottom. I am a website designer. So I'm a developer in the website sense, not in the software and operating sense. So I'm not looking at a distro for the weird little back-end things. I'm not all that knowledgeable about those. When I looked at what Windows was doing with Windows 10, saying this is not a viable operating system for me, I had to look into something else. And so I did. I looked into different versions. I was playing with Ubuntu for a while, but I missed the workflow that I had in Windows. And that's what Linux Mint Cinnamon gave me, is a near identical workflow to the Windows platform. And I just found, because I use Windows, I use Linux, and I use Mac, all three of them every day. All right. So with that being said, the workflow in a Windows style, I have a taskbar at the bottom. I have all my windows out. I can do multiple windows on the bottom. I can minimize everything. I have a screen to my left with, or the menu to my left with my options. I have favorite softwares. I have a quick launch bar. All of those things make me very highly effective in how I do my workflow. And I do experiment with different workflows. I have a computer right beside me here that runs a variety of different workflows and systems on it, so that I'm constantly always experimenting with different ways of doing things. And so what I did is I came down and looked at Linux Mint the first time, and I was like, this is a distro that I could love. And so I installed it on my web design computer, and it was everything I was looking for at a Linux distro. On top of that, it has a very high degree of stability. It works on nearly every bit of hardware. I've tried it. Now, there's hardware it doesn't work with for sure, but it works with nearly every bit of hardware I've tried. Even setting up more complicated hardware devices for people. We wanted to run other distros. We ran into walls. I said, let's just try Linux Mint. Worked perfectly. And so that's kind of the case there with Linux Mint, is it works so well with so many hardware configurations. It's just an amazing operating system, all without collecting data and doing weird, funky little things, stuff like that. Now, I first experimented with Manjaro maybe about 6 months ago. I ran that on my system. I ran Manjaro with a Budgie community build. I think the Budgie's a community build. And it was like the second best operating system I ever used. I had zero problems. The workflow was great. I mean, I loved the look. I loved how everything worked. I used that to run media. It was one of the few systems that I had that I didn't run into some of the media type issues, stuttering in videos, things like that. Loved the distro. It just worked great. So I'm looking at these two distros and I'm asking, what is it about these two distros that work? So I want to go ahead and we're going to have a look at their individual websites, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the distros themselves in a VirtualBox. So starting with Linux Mint. Linux Mint comes with a few different desktop environments. Now our core Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu. They are currently on 18.3, and 19 is set to be due out here in just a week or two. Currently you have Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE, and KDE, but KDE is going away. It's very sad, but KDE is going away. One of the first tasks I'm going to do with 18 or with 19 when it comes out, I'm going to try and install KDE on it and see what happens. I'm just going to see if I can make that working, because the computer over here, which is currently on Debian and Cinnamon, the computer itself, the hard drive in that computer that runs Linux, is Linux Mint KDE, and I love it. It is absolutely one of my favorite desktops. So 19 is going to have Cinnamon, Mate, and XFCE. Now Mint also has LMDE, which is a Debian base. They have Cinnamon and they have Mate, 32 and 64 bits. And what they're doing is they're releasing version 3 here right around the time they release the Ubuntu-based 19. And so you have a couple different desktop environments, but if they're supporting it, it's going to work. Linux Mint generally is a bulletproof distro. The installer is very easy. It can install alongside, or it can install wiping your drive. You can do more work with it. You can encrypt your hard drive at install. I actually do that on some of my computers. My computers have more sensitive data. Those are encrypted. It supports that right out of the installer. It works great. Very easy to install, and it just happens to work on nearly everything I've ever tried it on. So this computer right now, the old computer I had was a Intel i5. This one is a Ryzen 5 1600, so no issues there. The graphics card is a AMD R7 240, I think. No issues, never had to fight with any of that. And so Linux Mint it's just out of the box. It works with my CDs. It works with any media formats. Anything I needed to do, I'm running dual monitor setups right here. I mean, this system for me is a perfect Linux build. I can't think of anything else that I'd really want to do differently. That's kind of what's going on with this one. So that is Linux Mint. Now jumping over to Manjaro, where Manjaro has a lot of strengths, its installer is slightly more complicated. However, it's not overwhelmingly more complicated. It's just a little different. Now, Manjaro is based on Arch, which also means we have the Arch user repository. So, like, you have software for everything in the history of the world, although be cautious, some of it very well may be bad. So you have to be careful with that. But I found with Manjaro that everything in this also worked out of the box. I had very little issues. Now, where this one shines is it has this huge community behind it that does a really good job with just making sure things are working out of the box. It's based on Arch, but they test each of the Arch updates before they get it. Manjaro generally will run newer software than Linux Mint. Linux Mint does run at times older software. I fix those by running PPAs or Flatpaks, just other things to install the latest software. That to me is not a huge issue. Manjaro will always be pushing some of the latest software, but they always make sure it's working before they push it out. So you have a little bit better compatibility. One of the great things about it is you have community builds and you have your basic builds. So the default of Manjaro is XFCE. You can get, of course, you can get a minimal or a standard install, differences which software packages. They also have an official KDE, GNOME. They have Manjaro Architect, which I don't know much about that. I'm not in this world quite as much. I kind of live in the Debian world usually. But you can also come down here for the community releases, and this is really where Manjaro stands out. We have Awesome, which is based on a different Windows manager, I have no idea what this one is. BSPWN. This is new. We have Budgie. This is the one that I ran. Love this system. It worked great for me. You have your Cinnamon. You have your Deepin. You have i3, LXDE, Mate, OpenBox. And if there's a need for more, they'll probably include it down the road. So you have a ton of options as far as Manjaro. Out of the box, they tend to work. But there's some things about Manjaro and Mint that they do that make them very easy to work with. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and boot these guys up in a VirtualBox. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to have a look at Linux Mint first. So I'm going to boot these up in a VirtualBox. It will be nearly the same VirtualBox for each of these guys. And our VirtualBox is going to, this has, I want to say we have 4 cores and 6 gigs of RAM in each of these VirtualBoxes. So we're just going to get this a second to boot itself up. All right, so in a VirtualBox, we will get this rendering in software mode. That's because the drivers for the VirtualBox are not fully up and running. Running on Debian, I had to install the non-free drivers to get the Cinnamon to work. That has more to do with Cinnamon. Now you're greeted with this welcome screen, and you can install your apps. You have your drivers, documentation, new features, ways to help. So one of the first things you want to do is, this is what really stands out with Mint, is this driver install tool, because this will allow you to, what it's going to do is it's going to look at all of this hardware in your computer, and it's going to determine, is there any other software you should use. Now, Manjaro has the option on install. Do you want to use just free, or do you want to also include non-free on the installer? Linux Mint doesn't ask that question. It gives you just the free to start, and then it gives you this option here, which is going to install non-free drivers as you need. So this is for the processor. This one here would probably fix that video rendering. We're not going to try and do that, but this one there might fix that. So this is using the proprietary drivers. So that's what this is going to do. You also have in Linux Mint, I like the update system. Some people have criticized this as being confusing and ha 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 ha. And no, it's not. Okay, what this is it is an update screen. At the first launch, you say just keep the computer safe, which means security patches are going to be pushed. Let me review sensitive updates, which means that you're going to have security updates and some other updates that aren't listed as quite so critical. And then there's the always update everything, which does have a small chance of breaking some things in the system. Manjaro doesn't have this. Manjaro just updates everything unless you tell it not to. And so occasionally Manjaro will break on an update versus Mint may not. If you have it set, and I usually just keep the minimum setting here. And then when you run this, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you, do you want to switch to a local mirror? So for that, I need to enter my password again, and it's going to go ahead and search for the repositories, and it's going to be doing a speed check on various repositories around the world. And then you just want to pick whichever one works, either the fastest or whichever one you feel the best about. Like I've never heard of EvoWise, CND. That's actually new. I know of advanced hosters. I've never heard of the pair networks. Usually what I do is I pick the fastest university. So in this case, James Madison. So let's just pick James Madison. And then for the base, this is where the Ubuntu's coming. Once again, I'll press pick whichever one of the universities usually is at the top. So you see that the default of the Ubuntu build happen to be in UK, so we definitely want to probably try and change that one around a little bit. Okay, we'll probably get some that are faster than this, but we're just going to go ahead and do this so we don't have to wait. So what that's going to do is that's going to change our repositories to the fastest repositories or the repositories we're simply choosing. It might be a trust matter. That's why I don't pick the ones I don't necessarily know. That's why I stick with the universities usually. Much more trustworthy. Now it's going to give us any updates we want to install. And I did not install updates on Mint. I did install updates on Manjaro. I actually wanted to show you that initial installation screen. All right, so once you do this, that's going to, what it's doing is it's updating the Mint installer. Now it's going to reload, and then now there's more updates to install. We're not going to go through here on camera and update all these, but you can see that some of these are unchecked. This is because when we changed our settings to only give us, you know, the medium setting, it's leaving certain packages unchecked because the system says, well, those packages we don't want to update because there's a small chance they could break a system. Now, the other reason I really like Linux Mint is it updates the kernels separately from the software, because there are times a kernel will break. Updating a kernel could break your system. So here in the view, you go into the Linux kernels. Now you can actually select which Linux kernels you want to use. I'm not sure which kernels. Okay, so it looks like 4.10 is active on this. We'll probably have maybe 4.15 or later or something and activated on the new one when it comes out. But you can literally pick which kernel you want to use. You can install or not install the kernels independently of the software. That's really a big thing. As far as your setup, if you are a Windows user, this is going to be a very familiar setup to you. We have our menu down here with all of our different software groups, all of the different software pre-installed. The software pre-installed breaks down into a series of tools. So we have GIMP installed, Internet applications, we have Firefox, Thunderbird, we have the Office packages, sound and video with a rhythm box. We have the lightweight movie player, the media player. We have VLC. So we have a full suite of packages. Some people may say this is a little bit too much. For people who really know Linux and like using Synaptic Package Manager, you have the option to use your Synaptic Package Manager. If you're newer to Linux and you don't know what all the packages are you're looking for, we have a very nice software center. And the Software Center was recently redesigned. It does searching really well. We have a Flatpak section. There's just a lot of good stuff in the software system here. So this in and of itself, the software package, this whole thing just works. It works really well. That's why I like Mint. As far as theming it, of course, theming really depends more on your desktop environment than it does on your distro. And I do theming in a lot of my videos. I'm not going to go into all of that. But we do have a settings panel here. Of course, this is where you adjust your fonts, your themes, your backgrounds, things like that. Under your preferences, one of the things that I like about Cinnamon, again, this is desktop environment related. We have your online accounts where you can attach various online accounts. If you have a Nextcloud, sometimes Nextcloud appears on this list, sometimes it doesn't. It is on one of my 18.3 computers. It's not on my other 18.3 computer, but OwnCloud connects with Nextcloud the exact same way. Use that. We also, though, have a startup application. So these are the startup applications. I might turn this off on this system because I don't have NVIDIA drivers on here. I don't really care to. If you don't want to see the Mint welcome screen, you can actually turn off the script that even looks for it the first time. Mint update, Flatpaks. If you're not using Flatpaks, you can turn that off. So you have all those different settings. And then we also have in Mint, we have some backup software. Now in Ubuntu, your backup software appears in this settings. Well, it used to. I'm not sure if it still does. But now we actually have two different things. We have Time Shift, which will literally make a mirror of everything in your system on a separate location. And we have a basic backup tool, which will back up certain files to certain places. It's fairly limited in that. I'm not sure if Manjaro has the backup systems in there or not. If somebody in the comments knows for sure, let me know. We support graphics tablets, at least on Cinnamon, out of the box with this. Here's our software sources. We have a firewall. So there's a lot of good features. There's a lot of things that really makes Linux Mint a fabulous, fabulous system. And that is really why Linux Mint is so rated. There's a lot of criticism, security's... What security issues? I have pulled people to ask for that. I have not encountered any. Their website was hacked once, and it pushed malware-laden distro for about an hour and a half while they found it, and everybody that verified the ISO didn't have a problem with that. There might very well be some issues with some older packages, but as far as I can see and have checked and verified myself, all security patches are pushed to Linux Mint just as fast. They are just not as fast at pushing all of the latest software packages. To the latest versions. That's what they don't necessarily spend their time doing. So that's Linux Mint. So we're going to go ahead and we'll jump on over to Manjaro. So give me a moment to shut this system down, and we will move on over to Manjaro. All right. So we'll go ahead and have a quick look at our comments while I'm waiting for the other system to boot up. All right. So... Where's I at? Wait, GUI for Pac-Man. Okay, Manjaro uses Pac-Man. Yep, okay. Okay, I think I've been through all these. Manjaro overtook Mint. Yes. Use the distro it works for you, not because it's top 10 in Distro Watch. Would use Manjaro, except my favorite IDE. Brackets isn't available for Arch. Huh. What? What? Kitty wants to come up.
Hello, peoples.
Alright, let's see. Hey, you know what? While I'm reading comments, I should actually start Manjaro. I should do that, shouldn't I? Alright, only reason Manjaro and Mint are at the top because they feature in search results. Ubuntu doesn't because it has a ton of successful SEO on their website. It's really simple. I disagree though, Alan. I mean, I disagree. I think that they're high rated because they work. There's a lot of buzz about them in the community. That's my personal take. Okay. Green is the color of Ecto Cooler. Yes, it is. Use Ubuntu on my laptop. It's great on old hardware. Still on Ubuntu distro. Also, Ubuntu Mate is green. It's also a highly hyped distro. Yeah, there you go. See, maybe it's green. So it's like green is your key. Incorporate green into your distro and you will be successful. So far, Mint is the most similar to Windows in terms of the way it operates. That's why, for me, I use it, install it. other people who are used to it. Yep. Neo 21, are you the one? Yes. Okay, true about green things growing. I have 2 green things growing in my window box. I don't know if they'll be flowers or weeds, though. Are you really letting Morpheus get into your head? Okay. Okay. I love to have used KDE. Let's see. Whenever I try to install KDE over an existing distro, I can never get KDE Connect to work. Huh. Okay, Joe, remind me. That's a thing I'll look into. Pop! OS encrypts by default. That's good to know. That's nice. Joe Collins showed how Mint can also do an OEM install, which came in handy for my brother. Good. Currently using Pop. Yeah, Pop! OS is pretty cool. I did a video on that, but I don't think it ever got published live to the website. It was a stream, and then the stream came down. I'm not sure the Pop! OS actually got featured on my website. Okay. Problem I had with Manjaro was my touchpad didn't work. My Ornix Pro didn't like messing around with it. Really liked it otherwise. Now, Canonical knows what computer he's watching YouTube on. Groundbreaking difference. Okay. What was about the sub feed being broken? Zaza, I will go ahead and release that video here. It might be released tomorrow morning. I'm not sure when exactly I'll get it released. I need to do production on my other channel's video tonight. It's supposed to go out Wednesday, but I was dog sitting for somebody, so I didn't get a chance to do that. Semi-new Linux user is told to go to Sin first, move to another distro. Oh, Mint, probably Mint Cinnamon to move to another distro. I used to install Linux Mint, but giving Mate a go. Very good. Debian stable is best. Oh, and by the way, I did at least on one of my current Debian build, I was finally able to resolve the Kodi maxing out the volume issue. I'll have to try it on my other build, but it was, yeah, exciting. Question: since I wanted to move to Linux full time, should I encrypt the entire drive or just used data? Well, if you already have it installed, you can only encrypt the full drive on install. You can encrypt just your home folder. That's a possibility. It's always better to encrypt the full drive. It really depends on what you use your computer for. My basic, like this streaming computer, there is 0 sensitive data on this computer. I don't bother encrypting it. My backup computer, fully encrypted. It's got financials, it's got passwords, it's got all sorts of stuff on it. So it really depends on what your computer is. Last update of Fedora killed my network. Ew. Linux Mint 17.1, it's working fine now. Yep. Arch Linux is so beautiful. Add it in Manjaro. Open a search engine you don't normally use. Search for Manjaro. DistroWatch will come up. Search for Ubuntu. DistroWatch will be number 2. Well, I mean, again, I mean, it's a difference of opinion. It's my take. I will look at that, though, see what I think. What DE are you running for Manjaro? All right, I'm going to be looking at Manjaro on XFCE because that's their main build. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that. All right, so here we are on Manjaro. We're running the Manjaro, the basic chief build, which is XFCE. And again, we are greeted with a welcome screen. We have release information, forums, chat rooms, etc. We can launch it at start or not launch it at start. The default launches. So if you don't want that, turn that off. I really love the theming they did. XFCE classically for me does not necessarily have a beautiful looking feel, but this distro just nails it. It's the power of XFCE. If you know what you're doing with it, you can do very good, very classy stuff. I mean, it's CSS script, so you can do a lot of really nice stuff with it. However, a lot of your basic just out of the box XFCE does look a little dated. Manjaro did a great job of making it not necessarily look dated. So what we have with this is we do have the ability to come down here, and we have system up to dates at the bottom. So this button here is your package manager. But we also have, like Linux Mint, the kernels are operated on a different thread, and I think this one was asking about kernels. So we're right-clicking the Manjaro logo, come up here, and this is now where you can see an upgrade to the kernels. So you can see here the status. So this one's an experimental, so don't do this one on a production computer. We have this one. We have the real time. We have an LTS. This is the one that's running. So one of the first immediate things you see is that Manjaro, like I said, will run more recent software. That means you're going to run nearing the bleeding edge of kernels. You're going to run nearing the bleeding edge of software. Now, if we go in and we have a look at our Office programs, so let's pull up this, and my guess is... I'm not going to make a guess yet. Okay, so we're still running LibreOffice 5, not 6. Mostly, I mean, this Manjaro hasn't released a brand new version just recently. But let's go ahead and have a look at which version. So we're running 5.4, which is a very recent version. I think the Linux Mint 18 default is 5.1 or 5.2. I think it's 5.2. So this is where we can adjust our kernels. We can install various kernels. We have experimentals. We have real times. It gives us a very nice readout on that. Our package manager over here, this is where we can look for different software. Again, this one here is going to be a little bit more, it's a little bit less user-friendly. Like the Linux Mint is very graphical, very user interfacey. This one's not quite as much, but it's not exactly as hard to use and understand for a new user as Synaptic is going to be. So this is a good happy medium. I can search for something here like web browser, you know, and it should give me web browsers. There's aggregates, there's Chromium, there's GNOME Web, Firefox. There's a Firefox Developer Edition. So we have a variety of different things you can search for in the system. You also, though, have the ability to go in looking at your groups. So we have a variety of different groups to look at. So let's see, there's a lot of different groups here. There's Kodi groups. Let's see. What I was looking for categories: education, games, graphics, etc. So you have a lot of different options in here. Now you also have the Arch user repository, which is if you're looking for something that's not in here otherwise, your Arch user repository might have it, but there's warnings with that, in that the Arch user repository could potentially break your system. You have to be aware of that. Like, there could be bad packages in this. They're not all vetted. What's coming from the official repositories, everything here is vetted. Arch user repositories, disabled by default, not necessarily vetted. So it contains potential risks. If you want to use it, go ahead and turn it on. You can check updates from it. Here's your build directory. And now if you update and you do searches, now you can actually come in and you can actually come down here. You can run your repositories from a variety of different places. So you can look for things in different locations. The Arch user repository is just going to have a ton of stuff in it. As far as software installed, Manjaro has, like we said, the minimal, and it has the default. This one's the default. So we have a lot of different accessories, things that work out, just, you know, basic things, basic tools, menu editors, etc. We have some games. So Steam is pre-installed. Last time I checked, pre-installed Steam on Manjaro may be broken. The fix is to uninstall it, remove the Steam folders from your home directory, reinstall it, and it should work. I think there's a dependency missing. That worked for me. We do have GIMP. We have a lot of the same software we had on Linux Mint. Here's Firefox, HexChat. We do actually have Skype installed. Let's see, is this officially Skype, or is this like a web package? This looks like a web package, not the official Skype. So Steam, we have Thunderbird. So very similar in the applications. We have VLC, Audacious, Pulse Audio. Here's our Office. So again, notice that we have Office Word Online, which is a probably, my guess is something more like an ICE package. Basically, it's just going to the website online. You'd have to come in here, sign in with your scary Microsoft account. But you have the option anyway. It's there. You can get rid of that stuff if you want to. Here's all your different settings. And one of the things that Manjaro has is they do have a Manjaro specific settings manager, variety of location things. Here's the hardware configuration. This is going to be similar to the drivers thing. These are those things that really stand out that a lot of distros don't have. Mint and Manjaro has it. That is, in my opinion, why these distros are popular and they work. Out of the box, user-friendly. This is also set up just like Windows. They have extra little things like driver installers, separate ways to update the kernels, update the software, a wide variety of software installed. They have a polished look, a polished feel about them. They don't feel old. They don't feel dated. They're just good systems. So that's kind of my take. That is kind of the battle between Mint and Manjaro. Why I think they're fairly highly rated. As far as who uses exactly which Linux distros, we'd have a hard time figuring all that out exactly either way. But regardless, it is worthy of consideration to look at, just kind of look at what each of these distros is doing. If you're new to Linux and you want to try out some of these different distros, I would recommend looking at one of these two first because they have a lot of polish to them. They're very user-friendly out of the box. And they tend to work on a lot of different systems. I personally use Linux Mint. If I were starting over again, I'd probably still go with Linux Mint, but Manjaro would come in with a quick second. So those are my thoughts. What do you think in the comments down below? All right, let's go ahead and close this guy down. All right, let's see. See if I marked my position. I may not have. Nope, I don't think I did because... Let's see. I think I've read that one. So why money is green. XFCE, Manjaro is first class, light and powerful, customizable, only second to KDE in my opinion. All right. So let's go ahead and address what Alan Pope had said, looking at SEO rankings. So going to start page, type in Manjaro, search for Manjaro. First thing comes up is Manjaro, Manjaro. SourceForge, distro watches down here. Type in Ubuntu. We have Ubuntu, Canonical, Microsoft, and then DistroWatch still on page 1. Okay. Do Linux Mint, DistroWatch result 4. So all 4 of them, the main web page is all 3 of them, the main web page is number 1. DistroWatch is on page 1. Yes, there are more Ubuntu links between there and there. One of them's even Microsoft. I'm not sure I buy that particular argument. Just looking at it. And that's why this is an opinion. We don't know exactly why, but that's my thought. All right. Okay, saving the session. Don't remember exactly. Glad to see my favorite podcast voice in here. Awesome. Very good. That's how Google displayed the results on my PC. Ubuntu on DistroWatch was on the second page. Think about building a network NAS. LOL. Look at, I use Open Media Vault for my network NAS. It's Debian based, that's why I use it. Pope, when are you going to jump onto Saturday Night Live? We're good. Joe, when I'm not asleep and in bed, it's like 3 a.m. for me. Alright, OpenSUSE for sure. Let's see. When we have a couple other UK participants, I guess. Yeah, maybe what we should do, Joe, is we should do an earlier show so that the UK guys can jump on earlier. That'd be good. Floodgates open. Perhaps a short follow-up might be fruit for all. Hello, Total OS Today. Greetings. DistroWatch is indeed not a measurement of popularity or use. Ubuntu flavors and Manjaro or Mint are collected. Takes only short. Fanboy clicking campaign. See, no, Torben, they have a fix in place for that. A clicking campaign cannot allow the rankings to rise because they only account 1 click per day per person. That's the difference. And so you can't create some click campaign. If you look at DistroWatch's rankings, they tell you that. But again, I'm not arguing that DistroWatch is what is number 1 and number 2. That's not why I picked these two out. This is because I have run Manjaro, I've run Linux Mint, I've run Ubuntu. I have had progressively more problems with Ubuntu in recent years. 16 was golden. 17 went off the rails. 18, some of it's good, some of it's not. That's just my thoughts. It's my experience. That's what I'm experiencing. A lot of it's because GNOME is just not a good workflow for the way I personally work. That's some of it, but you know, that's kind of the thing. Let's see. Cutting, not smoking. Yeah, Ubuntu flavors separate. I mean, yeah, if the Ubuntu flavors were all together, I have no doubt Ubuntu would be way number 1. And Manjaro flavors all are. And that certainly is certainly one of those things. You're praising FreeNAS last night on the stream. Hard drive inside of mine died 2 hours later. Uh-oh. That's why I run my NAS with a redundant drive in there. Stallman would probably advise against someone asking how you are doing because they're trying to get information from you. My views on Mycroft. I don't know. I don't have any. Greetings, Sneaks. How are you? I should bring back the Linux A-Team. Just a thought. Manjaro has a spin with cinnamon. Best of both worlds. Manjaro and Mint. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, and the reason I didn't boot up Cinnamon on both of them is I went with Linux Mint Cinnamon because Cinnamon is their flagship and XFCE is Manjaro's flagship. That's why I went with the two that I did. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was good. Oh, come on, kitty. Kitty's up and down and up and down and up and down. Someone suggested the Friday show, TTIF. Thank Toss it's Friday. Very cool, very cool. All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and get this guy wrapped up. Thank you for everybody for your discussions and stuff. And also, don't forget you can help support the channel. You can get a t-shirt like this one here at shop.switchtolinux.com. Also have coffee cups, other things like that over there. I do have a Patreon page, patreon.com/TomM, and any other means of support you can find out at switchtolinux.com/support. If you are new to the stream, the best thing of all the worlds, we end the stream with feeding a kitty. So the kitties get some kitty treats. Oh, the feline spotted. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Oh boy. So final call for comments. Uh-oh. The kitty treat landed on the keyboard. That is not good. Kitty's going to be over here clicking in a password or something. There you go. And you get one more. Yep, you get one more. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Also, a reminder, I'll be streaming again in about 45 minutes on my Christian channel at ourwalkinchrist.com. That would be cool if you guys want to jump on over there. Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. All right, sounds good. All right, so we will do any final comments here, and then we're going to go wrap this guy up. Let's see. I don't totally disagree. Start with Ubuntu 17. Yeah, I mean, Ubuntu is my first run into Linux, and I loved it. And I still like Ubuntu. I mean, I'm not anti-Ubuntu at all. I do like Ubuntu. But you know, there's other distros I like a little bit better. One of the things I love about it is that it, you know, just how easy it is to resolve issues. If there's any problems, generally you can find out with a simple internet search. That's all really good stuff, and it also helps fix all of the downstream Ubuntu stuff usually as well. So, you know, Ubuntu is great. Let's see. The cat is like eating the keyboard. The cat is licking the keyboard. Oh, Lord. Kitty, you're being too cute. The kitty is being way too cute. Look at this. Look at this thing. See you, Tony. Stay tuned for Matean meatballs with antipasto on the side. There you go. KDE Connect reminder. Yes, I will write that down. Okay, and Alan, thanks for stopping by as well. Linux Food Network Show. Yeah, that's what we should call it, Toss. We should call it the Linux Food Network Show. Enjoy Kitty, Cat of 14. Oh, I'm sorry, TSM. That's sad. YouTube thing burns me up. Yeah, I'll try and get that video out. I'll see if I can push that video out before I do my next live stream. I have 45 minutes, so I should be able to pull it off. All right, guys. Well, we will catch you later. Have a good one, and peace out all. And the kitty says, later, yo, after he's done with his bath. So thanks for coming along, and have a good one. And we'll see you on the other channel if you guys want.